What's up, guys? It's Damp, and our video today that I'm going to cover with you is on the 4-slot Man-at-Arms. So, originally, when I first made the Man-at-Arms video, his retribution was really, really strong at the time. At this point, it's come down significantly from where it was. So I've been trying different play styles with the Man-at-Arms, and this is one I feel is valuable. You guys probably saw me talk about it a little bit in the other video where I talk about the best party 2016, and I talk about, or January 2016, I talk about Man-at-Arms running in the 4-slot. So really, the purpose of 4-slot Man-at-Arms is almost how the Jester used to be, where you run them like just a buff bot. And what it allows you to do is you can actually skip bringing a healer because you will dodge so many times. But if you bring a healer, the healer can be used more offensively. So this allows the occultists to come into play, as they are not as, I guess I would say, defensive as the Vestal is, where you can use the occultist to attack the back 2 rows. You can use it if you run it in the 3rd slot to attack the 3rd row. So just one more way to make the occultist a little more valuable running with this setup. But you would run the Man-at-Arms in the 4 slot, and you're going to take these 4 combat skills. So you're taking Bolster, which is a buff, Command, which is a buff, recently clarified or buffed again, giving you crit. You'll take Defender. Now I usually take Crush. Some people take some of these. I just think if you get shuffled around, Crush is more valuable. So in looking, I'll kind of go through these and why. These are pretty simple. They're party buffs, so that's pretty easy. Defender is a way that you can protect a low HP mob, like a bounty hunter who's running in the 1st slot, to offset the amount of damage that comes in, or to focus that damage on just one person. So you can't protect everybody in your group, but you could protect the first 2 lines, knowing that that's where most of the damage is going to come into play, choosing one or the other, of course. But you could protect one of those, and you're also able to buff speed and dodge with this Bolster, which is really one of the best buffs until you get to the Darkest Dungeon. It's still valuable in the Darkest Dungeon, but not as dodge isn't as valuable. But up until then, dodge is very, very strong, and speed is probably the most worthwhile stat to stack, as you tend to go before other mobs, allowing you to eliminate enemy turns, of course. So Command is something I don't use as often, but with a crit addition, it is definitely helpful. This would offset leper accuracy issues, and just continuing to stack crit when your dodge and speed is pretty much maxed out. But how I usually use this character is I stack speed, and also I'll use the shield here. So there's a lot of different trinkets you can run, but I tend to stack speed and dodge, as you see with my quirk selection. Evasive and quick reflexes. That allows him to typically go 1st or 2nd. I can bolster, allowing the rest of my team to typically go right after that, almost as if you'd surprise the enemy team. Almost that strong, with as many speed buffs as the speed getting in here. Not every time, but a lot of the times. Then after I get a bolster in, depending on who's with me, if I'm running a high crit party, I would run Command. Or if there's somebody pretty squishy in the front row, I'll run Defender, and then I'll continue to stack Bolster. And then, just kind of play it by ear depending on what mobs you're running into. But Bolster is usually my first move, and then moving into either Command or Defender, depending on who's with us. So to go back to quirks, we're bringing Evasive, Quick Reflexes for sure. On Guard is a really good one, as well as Quick Draw would be good here for this guy. As we look at Trinket Selection, you have the Feather Crystal, which you guys all know my love affair with the Feather Crystal. I think it's amazing. And the Man-at-Arms shield, called the Guardian Shield, is very strong here, because you get the prot in position 4, you get much more heals if you're going to be the one taking most of the damage, and you also get your dodge buffed. Now, depending on who you're bringing with you, if you're not bringing a healer, you can drop this out and then replace it with, you could go Sun Cloak, Sun Ring, Camo Cloak. Really, you're stacking speed and dodge, though. The Camouflage Cloak runs pretty well through this. There's a lot of options, but primarily you're going to focus on speed and dodge if you're not running the shield. If you're running the shield, you're good. You can run the shield and Feather Crystal. You could run the Camouflage Cloak here. A lot of different options. But he primarily is a buff character. And he's also there to absorb some of the damage with his prot on squishy characters in the first 2 rows, if you happen to have them. When you look at our camping skills, pretty much run-of-the-mill camping skills for a man-at-arms. Weapons practice, instruction, tactics, which is really, really good, and then maintain equipment. So if you're going to run 4th slot, you don't want maintain equipment. You'd replace it with encourage, because you're probably not going to be the person doing a ton of damage. The prot's okay, but I would rather use the points towards the dodge here. This is much stronger. So anyway, going back to where this guy shines, he shines primarily with high crit characters, as you can see with his buffs. Excuse me. And high dodge. High dodge, high speed, high crit, he tends to perform very well with those characters. But he can also offset some weaknesses with those characters as well, allowing the slower characters to go and do more damage and be able to go faster. So personally, I think right now, this is the best playstyle for the man-at-arms. Running him in the 1st and 2nd slot is okay, but I truly think right now where he shines, this is a buff bot and a damage absorber. So hopefully that clarifies some of the questions you guys had when you said, oh, why don't you consider 4-slot man-at-arms? I do now, based off the changes that have been done to the hero class. It's always been okay, but now I think it really outshines the main play. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for all your support and for watching. Upcoming next will be videos on the best parties for each individual dungeon. I'll be running down those probably by the end of this week. You'll see them. So thanks again for watching. Have a good one. See ya.